I think so. Or what? Afghan?
No, they're little,
Oh, they're little.
less,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
one of the generals had one. He's got this long nose. Uh, anyway, they're a handful. They're strong. They're stupid. And then she's got two old lab looking dogs. So they wanted us to help them, but we were there really to celebrate his mom's 95th birthday.
Jeez, there you go. That's a celebration.
And she's still out, cleaning up dog poop in the yard and mopping floors. And she's just very active. So good for her. She just can't hear very well.
Something's got to give. I mean, but when you're 95, I mean, I don't the song resonated with me. All
Yeah.
right, I got a
No,
script here.
it just can't stop time.
No,
Oh, now I get my timer.
I've got a clock here. I think this whole Zelensky thing with him caving, my point was, I am so tempted to just gloat about it and say, you know what, all you people who are just saying how horrible Trump was for this and this and this. First of all, you didn't see the whole thing. But secondly, what are you looking at now? You're looking at a big step toward getting a ceasefire. And the level of vitriol out there is so deep. I keep trying to, find the high ground, but it's not easy.
Well,
All of
as a mother of a service member, I don't want my son in that war.
right?
And there are already there are already service members serving right around there. They're in Poland, they're in places nearby, and they're supporting this war, so it's got to stop. It's just stupid.
You know what? And I've got a neighbor whose son was a forward air controller. And he says, he didn't say it specifically about this, but every time I've talked with him, he says, you know what? Based on what my job is, a lot of times we're in country for a week, two, sometimes three before US troops actually come in.
Yeah,
And we're hunkered down. We got radio silence going on, but we're paying attention to everything that's going on around us. And based on that, I'm fairly sure we've got some people who are on the ground in Ukraine unofficially.
right.
But you know what? God bless this guy. I mean, I appreciate your service. I appreciate your son's service so much, but I don't want your son to ever have to get involved in this stuff. I like having a president who's done with forever wars. And I swear to God, I hate to be too optimistic, but he may just set the tone for a lot of other countries that just say, you know what? We don't have to do this all the time. We don't
Right.
have to do this all the time.
Well, it's pointless,
You're not the savior of the world, yeah? Not the policeman or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. I got a clock. How are you, Barb?
I'm ready.
You look very nice. DJ is ready. I'll count us down. In three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. We air your real estate now, we air your real estate voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search Barb. You'll find her on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio and others. So, Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Well, Richard, good morning. I'm always excited about what I want to talk about today because I think it could help people. And the first topic is if you're a home seller, how do you sell your home for the most money? That's the number one question I get. And everybody has a different strategy and a different plan in their mind. about how that is going to happen. So we'll go into some detail about some steps to really get top dollar for your home. And then the second topic is probably the number two question we get all the time behind what my house is worth, which is what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. Some people kind of go overboard on remodeling, and sometimes you just won't get the money out of it. So we're going to talk about things that will help and things that won't. And then the third topic kind of dovetails with it, where it basically is about how to get your home on the buyer's must-see list. And that's really, really important. So everybody wants the most money. I don't know any home seller that doesn't. But at the end of the day, you have to be realistic. You have to look at competition. And it's going to be the market that decides which homes are going to sell fast and which are not. So we know how to help our clients get their homes on the must-see list, and it involves the 4 Ps: picking the right agent, making sure that you prepare properly, making sure your agent promotes the home correctly, and pricing it right, because pricing absolutely is the first impression. And then the last topic is a little bit controversial, but it'll be fun to talk about it. Do I need to pay a buyer's agent when purchasing a home in Colorado? And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
Barb, in this market, there are many more homes that are not selling. So, what are the 5 keys to get the most money when you are selling your home and making it sell?
Well, Richard, I want to set the stage first on kind of what's going on in the market. I look at statistics almost every day to see what's going on all along the Front Range and figure out, okay, are the prices going down? Are they going up? Is it taking longer to sell homes? And all I can go by is my own experiences on the listings that I have and how quickly they are or are not selling, what our competition looks like. And what I'm seeing right now, even though if you go on YouTube or some of these other social media channels, even the Wall Street Journal is painting a picture that, inventory is exploding and prices are dropping, but I am not seeing that across the board. I am seeing some better deals, especially in the lower price point. But what's interesting is the higher price point actually is moving pretty well. So it all comes back to supply and demand. So right now, of course, inventory is higher than we saw after the pandemic when the rates were down low. But we are seeing a little bit more inventory than we saw on the market before the pandemic. But you have to just kind of do the math about supply and demand. There's probably 25% more available buyers in the market right now. Many are kind of sitting on the sidelines and trying to decide, all right, do I wait to buy? Do I keep saving money? Do I wait for the prices and or the interest rates to come down? And we're not seeing a big move. We have seen the rates drop probably about 3/4 of a point, and that should be enough to get activity. I just looked up mortgage rates yesterday. A 30-year fixed conventional is about 6.75. To compare that right after the election, it was at 7.5. So it has ticked down almost a point. And VA and FHA loans are down in the low sixes right now. So many of these lenders are offering a temporary buy down of the rate of 1%. In fact, our preferred lender at Nexa will do that, where they will do a temporary buy down of the interest rate by 1% off the current rates. And now we're talking more affordable. If you're starting to talk mid to upper fives, yeah, the buyers are probably going to be able to handle that payment. So what we're seeing county-wise, we had a dip through the fall, which some of that is seasonal. So in El Paso County, the median list price is starting to tick up again. The inventory is still low. In Douglas County, the prices are kind of surging a little bit. We went up about 25,000 in the past 2 weeks. Inventory remains low in Douglas County. Teller County prices are kind of all over the place. I really feel like Teller County is one of those very seasonal markets. A lot of people, especially the Texans, fall in love with let me say that again. A lot of people, especially Texans, fall in love with our mountains, and especially in Teller County. So as we move into the spring, you'll see, I think we'll see those prices tick back up in Teller County again, but right now they're down or just relatively flat as compared to last week. And inventory is low there, and Pueblo has been relatively flat as well. Now, here's the thing. I think it's a mistake for buyers to wait on the sidelines until they see prices drop and or rates drop. And the reason is that when that happens, other buyers are going to come out of the woodwork. Just last weekend, Richard, I had a bidding war on a listing that I had that's priced over 1.2 million, if you can believe that. It's been sitting on the market for 3 months, and all of a sudden we get two buyers at the same time. So why is that happening? Because, I think the buyers there's more consumer confidence, in my view, about what's going on. The rates are coming down just a little bit, and this is prime time selling season. So I do believe it's going to be a better market going into this spring in this local area. I can't speak for all of Colorado, but I know along the Front Range, it's pretty good. And here is the key. I have this thing called the 5 keys to thrive in any market. And the way you do it, first of all, to get the most money, is you have to make sure you pick the right agent. You have to make sure that the home is properly promoted. I see this all the time when I'm showing similar sales to my sellers, where I'll see marketing, even really high-end listings that are $1 or $2 million, where the agent was too cheap to spend money on professional pictures. Can you believe that, Richard? Wouldn't that make you mad?
I would be so angry. I mean, I've got a nice phone. You've got a great phone, in fact, Barb, but you don't use your phone for photographs. You
Yeah.
go all out. It's a big investment. You want to get everything you can.
Yeah, so it's absolutely critical that you kind of execute a plan and sell your home in the way that you want to sell it. Not everybody has the same selling strategy. Just so you know, some people will tell me, hey, I don't want to deal with a bunch of strangers coming through my house. Can't you get me a cash offer? And the answer is absolutely. We could probably get you multiple cash offers, even from local investors that might pay a little bit more. But the key, if you're going on the open market, is to be the best home on the block. And so we know that the first showing is online. We know that the price is the initial impression of the home. We know that the buyers are very well educated and they can see everything around it, and they can see whether or not it looks like a good deal. So photos have to be good. It has to be priced realistically, because buyers are eliminating homes based on the online presentation. 4 years ago, the study was 57 seconds. I would say right now it's probably down to about 10 seconds is all you have to make an impression online. And that decision is going to make the buyer decide whether or not they want to even bother to go look at that home or not. So it's really changed over the years. It used to be you get with an agent, and agent would pick out the listings and then you go look at them. But now it's the online marketing, the online pricing that makes the buyer say yes or no, whether or not they want to see it. So bad photos are really a problem because they absolutely repel buyers from looking at a home. Here I've got a picture of a house. This was during the boom, this little condo in Monument that was really low priced actually at the time. It should have had multiple offers on day one because that was when the market was hot, but they just didn't take proper photos. So the photos were dark. We're looking at a picture right now where you can see the kitty litter box, a very large kitty litter box. You've got all this debris on the counter. You've got a reflection of the listing agent taking the picture. And even in the kitchen of this place, there was all these groceries on the counter. It's like, really? You didn't do any preparation? So I'm not sure everybody studies marketing. You have to make sure that it's marketed properly. And there's a lot of buyers out there that have a house to sell. And it's kind of like playing cat and mouse. It's like, well, I want to sell, but I don't want to render myself homeless. So we absolutely have solutions for people with a house to sell. We have our trade up program. We have our guaranteed cash offer, multiple cash offer program that can help people. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719 301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And next up, we're going to be talking about what should home sellers do in 2025 to win at the game of selling the home. Richard?
We're here talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. And Barb, you've highlighted 3 of the 5 keys to maximize your sales price when you're selling a home. Be the best home on the block, create demand with aggressive marketing, and solve buyers' problems. Tell us about those last 2 tips.
Well, number 4 is negotiating. So what I mean by that, and you'd be surprised to hear that many of the real estate agents in the market aren't really trained to negotiate. They don't know how. They think it's their job to get stuff for their buyer. And unfortunately, sometimes they fail because they try to get so much stuff, the seller says no, and somebody else gets that house that their buyer wanted. So I personally think that's a mistake. And when I'm representing a seller, and I do both, but I do mostly sellers, my job is to take care of the seller in their best interest. So as an example, just the other day, I got an offer on one of my listings, and we had sent out the counter proposal, and the way that electronic software works, all they had to do is click on it and sign to be under contract. And then I get a call from another agent bringing another offer. So I hurried up and hid that counter proposal so buyer number 1 could not sign it yet, to take a look at buyer number 2 to see which one was better. And it worked out that buyer number 2 was the best offer. But had I not done that, then it might have cost the seller some money and maybe not having the buyer that would have worked out best for them. So not every agent knows how to do that, and we do. We are trained in doing that because it's absolutely critical to get it right. Some other things is pricing. Pricing absolutely is your first impression, and buyers are going to make their decision as to whether or not they're even going to look at your home based on how it's priced. So if it's not priced right, if it's overpriced, they just won't go see it. It's just that simple. And you have to keep in mind, there are a lot of brand new homes that are priced very competitively, that are offering huge incentives to the buyers, buying down their interest rate, paying their closing costs, giving them upgrades. So pricing is absolutely critical. And that's just one of the things that we help our sellers make a decision on before they go on the market. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. That's what we do. We sit down with home sellers and give them a really good idea what their home will sell for in this market based on real empirical data. We also give them tips on what to do and what not to do to get their house ready for sale. And we'll go over all the closing costs so they can make a good decision on exactly what their strategy is and how much money they're going to put in the pocket when it sells. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker, your real estate voice of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what to do and what not to do to get your Colorado home ready for sale. There's one down.
That one I was trying to rip through it, but
I thought it sounded good. I mean, do you think it was rushed or?
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so
I
either.
cut out a few things, and that's okay.
I have to say, you are amazing at doing that and just not missing a beat at all.
How long have I been doing this?
I, I don't know how long. Any idea, David? The
I don't
show
know.
itself, and how long ago did you come back?
I came back 3 years ago and she was
Already
well
going.
up and running. So
I would say, gosh, if I had
I'd
to
say
say, Barb,
4,
I'd say
maybe 5
4 or
years.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it works very well. It's my number one source of business, um,
That is so,
that and the ads for sure.
yeah. Well,
difficult to separate the two.
Yeah, like I talked to one yesterday. My wife heard you right. Okay,
Well, I heard you on the radio.
there you go.
Which way?
Mhm.
Okay, let me just take, I'm wanting to make sure I've got this here. I do. Well, here we are. Okay. I'm sorry. I just had I got a new clock. All right. I'm ready. Barb, you good?
I'm ready.
David as well. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, we're talking about buying and selling, but Barb, what do people need to do and what not to do to get your Colorado home ready for sale?
Well, first of all, I think home sellers should be picking a selling strategy. Not everybody wants to make their house look like House Beautiful or HGTV and have a bunch of people traipsing through their home. It's not perfect for everyone. There are some people that want to sell their home as is, find me a buyer and get this done. And we can do that too. We've got local cash investors. We've got local home buyers that don't mind fixing up homes. So for some people, we have a solution of folks who don't want to go through the whole home selling preparation process because it is a lot of effort. Not everybody lives with their home looking like a model home. I mean, I wouldn't put my house on the market right now. There'd be a lot of work I'd have to do, just because you don't live that way customarily. And it's especially hard if you have kids and dogs and pets, that kind of thing. It's a lot more work to make that happen. So there are there are plenty of buyers that will come in and pay cash. I've even had some buyers on some of our transactions tell the seller, hey, leave whatever you don't want, take what you want, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about moving everything. And that's quite a relief for some home sellers. But then there's the ones that want to get the full 100% of market value, right? And so that's where getting the 4 Ps right is absolutely critical. Picking the right agent that knows how to help you prepare, preparing your home for sale. We're going to talk about what to do and what not to do in this segment. Pricing the home right and making sure the pictures don't repel a buyer. And I still see a lot of that. I'm really surprised because I don't think imagery is all that expensive. It's a couple of $100s to get professional photos, but some agents just don't spend the money and they think that their iPhone is substantial, and it's just not. It won't work, especially in the higher end price point. So when you select an agent, a lot of people make a decision about that based on, okay, well, they sold me the home. I really like them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I would still be looking at certain things, certain criteria to decide which one is the best fit for you. There's not really a predetermined way, but you want somebody that you can trust. I mean, they're going to be handling one of your largest assets. And you want to make sure that as you go through the process, that they have your back and they're doing their best to take care of it. And there's a lot of agents that will do that. So how does the seller really make a decision? Most home sellers just go, oh, well, I like this agent. I worked with them before. Okay, that's fine. But there's not really any logic to it. So if you would like to download, we offered this free agent selection guide on my website. Barb has the buyers, and you can download this free report that will give you just kind of criteria on how do you decide who's going to handle one of your largest assets. So let's go on with getting ready to sell. Number one, make sure the home is clean. Now we'll start with flooring, and flooring is kind of a critical thing. Buyers will absolutely, their offers will come in way below what it actually is fully worth if your carpet is worn or if your hardwood is showing signs of track and stuff like that in it. Make sure kitchens and baths are sparkling. When you're taking pictures, pick up the little small area rugs. I know some people put them down if they have dogs, they don't slide around. That's okay. But just for the photos, pick them up. It's okay to put them back down because buyers aren't going to remember when they get there. Door hardware should be very, very clean and good working order. Also, odors are a problem. And a lot of people get used to how their house smells. And pet odor probably is something we want to cross quite a lot, where inside the home, people don't notice it. So you want to kind of go outside and walk around in fresh air and walk in real quick and see if you can smell the pet odor. That really needs to be neutralized for sure. Take out the trash, clean the windows. That could be last because I don't really think it shows up in pictures unless they're terrible. And light fixtures. I've been in on showings before where you could visibly see like a 1/4 inch of dust on top of the ceiling fan. That is something that will repel a buyer as well. Now, as far as depersonalizing your home, a lot of people think they have to take all the photos down or all the photos of the family down. And you really don't. It's just that you don't want massive I love me walls in the house, right? You want it to look neat and tidy. You could still have a few family pictures, but not a whole wall. Like in my office, I have a whole bunch of things that are meaningful to me on the wall, my son and my flying days and stuff like that. But I probably would clean that up if I was going to go on the market, right? Because you don't want the buyer to come in and be focused on lifestyle stuff instead of really what is important, like can they visualize themselves in the home? So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about is what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. And we're going to talk about some more tips on how to do that when we come back for the break. But if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to find out about the selection guide or 10 questions you should ask before you hire an agent, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on those free reports and get that. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She is your voice, and you can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, we're talking about the top 15 tips to sell your home for top dollar. Can you give us the rest of those tips?
Well, lighting's very important. So I've been in some homes that, they pull all the blinds closed and close the blinds and all that. And I get that's how they live. That's fine. But for photos, you want it bright and light. You'll notice when you go into model homes, they don't even have any window coverings to speak of. Make sure you're removing excess furniture and clutter. That's the #1 problem that people can't get past. I was just helping one of my agents recently looking at her photos, and I'm like, yeah, that we need to just start over with this and clear out the room and make it look better. Also, it is worthwhile to consider staging your home. So one of the homes I just put under contract, they had moved already a lot of their stuff out, not all of it, but it was almost too austere and it was kind of hard for the buyers to visualize how they would live in the home. So we invested in staging furniture and brought it to the house to make the buyer feel warm and welcome in some of those key rooms, like the living room, the dining area, the eat-in kitchen. And studies show that a staged home actually buyer or sellers will get anywhere from $2,800 to $15,000 more dollars on one that's staged versus not staged. So you'll see a lot of homes online that are presented to the market empty. And I feel like that's a mistake because the buyers can't visualize themselves there. It's also hard for somebody that's not an interior designer or somebody that has that creative DNA to look at an empty room and see what they're going to do with that. I know I can't do it. And there's a lot of agents out there. Most of them only sell a few homes a year. There's probably a huge turnover in the industry. because they don't really know how to grow a business or not much training on marketing and expansion within the industry. So I think right now 87% of agents get out of the business past their fifth year. So if you want to hire somebody that can help you do this, you want to look at somebody that has a little bit more experience than especially a brand new agent to handle the sale. And make sure before you price, you do your homework. If this is your first impression online, a lot of people think, well, I'm going to overprice for negotiating room, and that could be a mistake all by itself. A lot of homes are eliminated based on the online presentation, so you absolutely have to get that right. And we've been able to help sellers get top dollar for their homes by pricing it what we call very realistically versus optimistically. I helped Steve and Kim sell their house not too long ago, where I really felt like it was probably worth $675. They insisted on pricing it at $650. We had multiple offers and it sold for $50,000 over asking price at $700. And that was all about creating demand. Another thing that I would be very careful with when you're working and getting ready to put your house on the market is you don't necessarily have to over upgrade. Like I was in a house pretty recently and it's adorable, it's well cared for, but it's not updated. So there's a different price for that. You know, we could see similar sales of that almost same floor plan where they had gutted the kitchen and put in all new stuff. So what they decided, instead of spending the money, excuse me, on a brand new kitchen, what they did was they priced it very well. The kitchen looks cute. It's just a 1960s time warp. So I'm really excited about that one going on the market because I think it's going to fly because all the rest of the bones are very well taken care of. So as long as you priced it right, that is the key. That's one of the key tips. And make sure you hire the right team and hire somebody that knows how to help you negotiate for top dollar. We do this all the time. So if you'd like to talk to us about selling your home, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. If you don't want to do the traditional sale, we could show up with multiple cash offers or bring in our local cash investors and get your home sold very, very easily without doing anything. So call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. She is your voice. And if you're thinking of selling your home and want to get the most amount of money for it, then call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how to get your home on the buyer's must-see list. You want it to be there. Stay tuned. All right. Give me one quick second here.
Yeah, we're on a break.
Can't do that. Oh, dang it. Barb, were you listening?
No, I didn't hear
I
it.
was complaining about the people I work with.
I didn't
Not
hear it.
really. I was just saying that it gets windy. It's a long story. It jacks with our doors, and there are people who will come through a broken door and not mention it or even put a little sign on it that says, the wind's going to catch this thing. You'll be lucky if it doesn't break.
Or just careful with the door.
Hold on, Barb. Dang it, Barb. I don't know. Did I send this to you? Zelensky changes his tune. Do you think someone talked to him? Who? Statement by Volodymyr Zelensky. I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace. None of us wants an endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We are ready to work fast to end the war, and the first stages could be the release of prisoners, the truce in the sky, ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs on energy and other civilian infrastructure, and truce in the sea immediately. If Russia will do the same, then we want to move very fast through all of the next stages and to work with the U.S. to agree on a strong final deal.
Please, sir, would you help us?
I know. We really do value has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. We remember the moment when things changed when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for this. Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it in any time and in any convenient format. We see this agreement as a step toward greater security and solid security guarantees, and I truly hope it will work effectively.
That's what that meeting was for. They were already 4 meetings
Done
in,
deal,
right?
That's
And
what I thought.
he just dropped a bomb on that meeting. I don't know why.
Well, he met with Democrats beforehand, and they told him to do it.
Really?
I mean, we know that he met with Democrats. We don't know what they said, but I guarantee you, they told him, go in there and make Trump look bad. Don't sign anything. And they thought they were going to get away with it, except there was just way too much backlash. But I think it's interesting here. He never really apologized. What he said was, our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It's regrettable that it happened this way. You little punk.
He is a punk. And
He is.
I doubt he wrote that. It was probably somebody said, you need to make this happen. Quit killing our people.
I think so. And part of it too, I almost forgot, is Trump cut off all of the, military aid like yesterday. It didn't take long, I think, and you're in the military. You do that one day. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have rounds for your tanks or anything like that the next day. But I think,
It's amazing how that kind of thing works.
well, because we have a strong president now. I mean, your military, I hate to hold up the show here for a second, but your military, it's got to feel good to have a strong commander in chief, doesn't it?
It does. I've been so much more relaxed. I was, even after the election, I was worried about what's next. Is Biden going to do between now and inauguration day? I wasn't sure that something else wasn't going to get really bad.
Well, I did too, and honestly, I mean, there is so much going on, especially deep state wise, that I just think we would be naive to believe that an attempt on his life is not a distinct possibility. And they've done it before. And I mean, because all of these people are getting to a point where, you know what, they're going to be I mean, I think it's a matter of time before Merrick Garland and some of these people are going to be held accountable. So,
I hope so.
okay. Um, I've got a new one and I am ready to go here. I got a clock and I'm set to go here. How about you, Barb?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Whoops. Count us down in three, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, when we talk about selling, it turns out that a home is usually one of the largest assets for almost everyone. That 401k sometimes too, but many people have sat on the sidelines, decided not to buy because rates and or prices are just too high. So Barb, there are ways to make homes more attractive and affordable to buyers. Tell us about those.
Well, I think there are quite a few buyers sitting on the sidelines right now just because pure demographics. Generation X, Y, and Z are all of age and they all have jobs where they could be buying homes. But the problem is, it's unaffordable. Like, if they get 100% financing VA loan on a house that's at 400,000 or 410,000, which is not that high compared to homes around the Colorado Springs and the Front Range area, their payment's almost 3,000 a month. For a lot of people, that means that they have to make well over 100,000 a year to be able to afford that. So people are waiting for the rates to come down. They're waiting for the prices to come down, but it's just not happening yet. If it does, I'll let you know for sure. But what sellers can do to expedite the sales process is they can offer incentives to their buyers, just like the builders do. As an example, they can offer, to help with the closing cost so the buyer can buy down the interest rate. They can help them with many different things. Like we've seen a lot of sellers more recently offer a VA assumable loan that already has a low interest rate. If the buyer has a down payment, that's a great way to incentivize a buyer. And we know how to market that. So, in general, it's a good thing to buy a house because over time, the monthly payment stays the same, as the value in general goes up. Now, it's seasonal. It could drop. It did happen back during the meltdown. I just don't see it happening, at least not in this area. If you watch YouTube and some of those other channels are saying, oh, the sky is falling, and they mention Colorado, but I'm not seeing it, at least in my practice. I'm seeing it in places like Florida. I'm seeing it in some other areas. We might be seeing it around the DC area because there's a lot of government workers that were asked to go home because they weren't showing up for work. And so there could be little local areas that are impacted by that, where you might see the prices drop a little bit. The other problem that some home buyers might have is they might have a house to sell, before they can buy. And we actually have a solution for that. Let's say like I just spoke to a seller a couple days ago who basically went and purchased a new home that's being built. It's not going to be ready for till the summer. And she's like, okay, how do we time this right? So we don't have just timing as an option. We also have a cash offer program where they're able to get their home sold without worrying about losing their new construction home. And we can offer that to anybody, any address in the country. What I saw happen recently, I had somebody make an offer on one of my listings. That buyer had a house to sell. And to make my listing more attractive to that buyer, I said, hey, if you have a house to sell, send me the address. I'll put it up on my cash offer platform. I will get you a half dozen cash offers right now. So I gave her those offers and they rejected them. Some of them were full market value. They could have done it, but instead, that buyer didn't get that house. Somebody else got the house. And so, it's surprising that some other, I don't know how they characterized the offer, but these were pretty good offers. And it wasn't that much difference in price in terms of where they went on to list their home and wait for a live in the home buyer to buy the home. So pretty often nowadays, buyers are asking for the sellers to pay their loan closing cost. Now, sellers don't like this because they already have their own closing costs, which are typically commission, taxes, and title. So when you tax on another 10 to 15, even $25,000 of seller paid closing cost, the sellers are not happy. But the other choice is lower the price and wait for another buyer to come along. And if you have other choices, if you have other buyers wanting to buy the house, then you're in the best position ever. You may not have to do that. But there's an awful lot of buyers that are buying the home with all the cash reserves that they have. And in order to make the payment more affordable, what they're doing is asking the seller, hey, if you cover, say, $10,000 of my closing cost, I can use some of that money to buy down the interest rate. Then I can afford to buy your home and I can afford the payment. It's not a bad strategy to get it done. That will absolutely reduce the timeline of the selling process for a home seller. And these, incentives, you can negotiate them. I'm working with one seller right now that said, all right, I'll pay your closing costs, but we're going to go up in price to cover it because we already have it priced pretty aggressively. And I think that the buyer's on board with doing that. So there's different ways to handle that. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team. And I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And I really love doing this. This is fun to be able to share my experience. I hope it's educational and fun for people to listen to. And what we're talking about right now is if you're a home seller, how do you get your home on the buyer's must-see list? And when we come back, we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about here? Okay. So what do we need to do to find out about these homes? How do we market these homes so the buyers do put it on their must list? And I'll give you some ideas about that. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. I have over 28,110 buyers in waiting just on my little website. In addition, the cash offer buyers that are willing to pay pretty close to full market value for these homes. And we also have local investors that will give you a good price for your home. So at least you have choices with us. Most agents' only solution is to take a home, put it on the market, post it, and hope and pray somebody else has a buyer. So give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Now, but we're talking about how to motivate buyers to put their home on that must-see list. It's very, very important. What are the particulars of those types of offers?
Well, Richard, first of all, it's all about pricing. Pricing actually is your first impression. And I will say, I've handled over the years, I've been working for the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, handling some of their properties now since 2012. I've handled over 200 of them. And one thing they get right 100% of the time is pricing it right. They don't underprice unless the home is gutted or something like that. They price it what I call realistically, and typically are getting a buyer within a month or two versus waiting 4 or 5 months and having to slowly walk the price down because a home seller unrealistically priced their home. So pricing absolutely is the first impression. If a home is priced right, it's always going to sell faster than one that's priced high for negotiating room or hoping that a buyer will overpay for the home. And so, the big thing for buyers right now is affordability. With the rates being in the sixes at this time, buyers don't necessarily need a down payment as long as they can afford the payment. I've seen conventional loans where they can put down as little as 3%. I've seen conventional loans where they could do 5, 10, even 20%. For VA and FHA loans, if they have down payment assistance, a home buyer can get in the door with zero down, even $1,000 out of pocket. So those are out there, but the buyer has to be able to afford the payment. So a lot of people assume when buyers are buying a home, okay, like it shows on Zillow, oh, if you put 20% down, this is how it's going to work. But what makes a buyer pick one home over the other is about price. And as an example, these VA properties that I have, some of them are not so pretty. Some of them are a little bit cosmetically challenged. They try to get full market value, but it just depends on what happened to them before they got the property. But they're still all selling. Even ones that really need a pretty major rehab are still selling. So they are very good at this because they know how to do this one thing very well, which is price. I know how to market. I can get them there with my marketing. I don't just use my smartphone to take pictures of homes. I take professional photos of every single listing. I don't care what kind of shape it's in, because we want to make sure that we're attracting all the buyers in the buyer population, not just, the primo live in the home type buyer. And investors actually buy homes too. Some buy them to keep and rent. Some buy them to turn around and remodel and resell. Some of them, want to hold on to them for a while. They all have different motivations. Some of them are just kind of handy and they want to live in that home and repair it as they go along. So there are those buyers, and if you price it right, you will attract those buyers. Let me tell a story. I had one last summer, and it was very cosmetically challenged. The basement was pretty much down to the studs, especially the bathroom. The bathroom and the bedrooms had dramatic carpet, and I'm sorry, the bedrooms had dramatic paint with sparkle and lots of crazy color and stuff like that. One of the bathrooms was down to the studs pretty much. The carpet was probably original and the home was built in the 70s. So it needed work. But what the seller agreed to do was to price it aggressively. We ended up getting about 3 dozen buyers at 2 different open houses. We ended up having 10 offers, and the home sold for $40,000 over asking price because we're able to create demand for a home that wasn't perfect. It wasn't in perfect shape. And people don't sell homes very often. One of the things that we want to make sure that our clients are really well prepared for is good communication. Make sure there's any legal issues that have to take care of, that we're disclosing any issues that are going on, that we're taking care of any marketing problems. And one of the questions I get all the time is, what's the best website where are the homes that you have? So some of the homes that we have are not online at all. And we will actually give our buyers insider access. In fact, at the last segment, we'll be talking about how we're offering this investor invitational system right now, because we meet with a lot of home sellers every week. They all have different strategies. Not all of them want a full retail sale. They're ready to go right away, and we can help investors find homes like that if they're interested in being on that list. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. When we meet with home sellers, we actually take a look at their home, give them tips on what to do, what not to do to prepare their home for sale. We'll go over all the similar sales and give them a really good idea what their home will sell for based on their selling strategy, and show them exactly how much they'll put in their pocket when it sells. So call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner broker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing, do you need to pay a buyer's agent when you're purchasing a house here in Colorado? Stay tuned for that. There you go.
I tried to do something different with that.
You did, in fact.
I probably wasn't even talking about what was on the slide.
I will say, you always manage to find, even if you're, talking about something that is kind of similar, you always find a new angle. Yeah, that's I was trying to find the exact right thing here. You were going to say? No, it was better than what I was going to say. All right. 80-mile-an-hour gust. No wonder the door is broken. I went to go out to my car and the door just went whipping away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And because it yanked it off of its mounts and brackets because it's so windy, but I didn't realize that it was that windy, but it is.
Yeah, when we were driving back up from Texas yesterday, right by Pueblo, some 18-wheeler got blown off the road and stopped traffic for a couple hours.
When that happens, you got a problem. All right, let's see. I've got a clock. I've got a script. I got us a little bit. David's got a 1 o'clock as always. I get talking too much here.
Okay.
But I'm ready to go here. You good, Barb?
Yes.
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most home buyers are searching on those big national websites, you know the ones, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. But is that really the best way for home buyers to find the best homes in Colorado? And do they need to hire a buyer's agent to purchase a home here in Colorado?
Well, Richard, it's really up to the buyer if they want somebody, working for them, and that's fine. One of the things that changed last year with the settlement with the National Association of Realtors is that the commission paid to the buyer's agent actually is no longer available online. It's negotiable. So it's a part of the contract. And the way I look at it is it kind of depends on the offer. It depends on, if they're coming in and saying, all right, we want to take 20,000 off the asking price and we want 20,000 in closing cost. And oh, by the way, I want 3% commission for taking stuff from your seller. I would say the seller is less excited about, stroking a check for 3% of the commission in that scenario. So it does make it negotiable now. And, it should be, I feel like it should be a win-win situation rather than a win-lose situation. What I mean by that is the buyer wants to buy the house, the seller wants to sell the house. The problem is the industry is trained agents to be a us against them kind of scenario. So they feel like their value is by getting stuff for the buyer. But at the end of the day, are they really getting the buyer the home that they want? Are they beating up the seller too much, so much so that they don't get the house? And so I see that happen an awful lot. And so that's why more and more we're seeing buyers go directly to the listing agent in order to get the home that they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. The state does require that we have to disclose exactly how we work with a buyer. I recently had somebody come to me on one of my listings and I shared her that information. I said, we can either be fair and neutral. Seller doesn't really care either way. I have to ask the seller. Some sellers are like, no, you have to be my advocate all the way to the end. In that case, we treat the buyer as a customer. But even in that case, some of the buyers don't care. They're like, I just want the house. I don't care about all these semantics, right? And that's okay. But it just depends on what the preference is of the buyer. And at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that if the agent says, the second rule that came out with the NAR settlement is that the agent has to have a written agreement with the agent before they show a house on how and how much they're going to get paid. Well, they can't guarantee that because it's negotiable. So let's say they said, all right, well, I want 3% on the sale, and the seller's only going to pay 2 or 2.5. They got to go back to the buyer and ask the buyer to pay it. And so it could create a little bit of a conflict there. I was just talking to a colleague, works for another company, and actually brought a contract for one of my listings. And she was saying more and more, especially up in Denver, um, they're not offering any commission to the buyer's agent. So that could be the case as well. But at the end of the day, the seller wants to get to the finish line, right? And so it's up to them on how they want to handle that. I tell them to plan on it and plan on some negotiations, and that normally happens. I get a little bit less excited of supporting a buyer's agent when they do things like, recently I've had a couple of them ask me, can't you show the house for me? Because I'm busy, I got stuff going on. And I'm like, no, isn't that what you should be doing? Do you want me to write the offer too? Oh, maybe I'll just send you the check. How about that? Will that work? I mean, I know I'm being sarcastic, but they think it's perfectly normal for them to just not do any work and collect money. And so I can see why the sellers don't understand what they're paying for it, and the buyers too. They're like, well, wait a minute. You didn't even show me the house. I found the house. So there's a lot of discussion about this right now. I think over time, it's going to drive commissions down for buyers agents. And what they have to do is be able to position themselves to give massive value to the buyers, to make them want to pay that 3% or whatever the percent is for them to get a house, right? One of the things that we offer to our buyers is insider access to homes that are not on the internet. We have hundreds of them right now, and we're able to connect our buyers with homes that they can't find by looking at Zillow, Homes.com, and all these other websites. So it's really interesting. It's going to be fun to watch over the next couple of years to see the changes that are going to take place within the industry regarding commission. And it will have downward pressure on commission, which will save both the buyer and the seller money over time. Buying a home absolutely is a very emotional thing for buyers and sellers, right? It's your space. It's what people care about. And, it's very important to buyers that they fall in love with the home, right? And that's part of what the marketing person does. The listing agent helps them fall in love with the home first online with pictures, and then when they get to the house. But at first, buyers need to know what can they afford. It's kind of funny. I get requests all the time from buyers wanting to go see homes without really knowing what they qualify for. And that's probably not a great idea, because at the end of the day, they should be making offers and with the confidence that they can get it to the finish line, in my view. And having that behind you as a buyer is a way really of carrying a big stick. Hey, I've got a check I can write essentially with this loan for this house, right? And it gives you a position to negotiate from strength. Now that agents are required to sign an agreement with their buyers before they show, I have seen them actually discourage their buyers from looking at a home if the seller wasn't offering the full amount of the commission. I had it happen right when the rule changed. Some agent called me and said, well, my agreement with my buyer is I get paid 3% and I'm worth it. So I need to know before I show this home, is the seller going to offer 3%? I said, I don't know. Depends on the offer. Maybe if you make a good enough offer, I know at least 2.5, and just picture this. He's sitting in front of the home with the buyer in the car behind him, pointing at the house, going, that one, I want to see that one, please. And the agent said, oh, forget it. I'm going to go show another house because I won't get my 3% that I deserve. Oh, how would you feel about that, Richard, if you were the buyer?
I would be dang upset. And honestly, I'd be thinking that I made a mistake doing that instead of going with you. And I'm dead serious about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really sad for me to say. If the agent they're working with brings them something of value, that makes sense to me. There's nothing wrong with that. I've got one of my buyer's agents, a master negotiator, and she knows how to put deals together. And she's amazing. And so, she brings absolute value, not only by finding the deals, but also putting the deal together and working things out when we run into bumps in the road. So that has a lot of value, and not everybody knows how to do that. That's why she's a top selling agent. So really kind of not much has changed, except that buyer agent commission became a little more negotiable. A lot of buyers are asking the obvious question, what would you do for me for that 2 or 3 or whatever it is percent, right? What are you going to do for me? I was shocked that I got a listing well over $1 million that the agent was asking me to show it to his buyer for him. And so usually I'll just challenge them and say, well, sure, just refer them down to me and you'll get paid and you don't have to do anything. They get a portion of the commission. Oh no, they were going to give that up. This is just kind of funny. But we don't work the same way most agents do, and we don't hold people to agreements. At the end of the day, we want satisfied customers that basically say, hey, I was real happy working with that agent, and they tell their friends and family about it so we can grow our business. And if the agent's all about them and what they get, I think that's a mistake. So if you are thinking of becoming a VIP buyer with someone on my team, give us a call at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyers team. Richard?
Barb, we are to your favorite portion of the program. Tell us about some of those hot new listings that you've got. What do you have this week?
Well, Richard, I have an adorable cabin up in Florissant. It's on almost an acre, beautiful views. The cabin's in great condition. Even though it's an old, true log home, it's got new windows, new furnace. It's priced at $399, just adorable. So that one's a good buy in my view. We've got a really cool house that's owned by the VA, south and east at 435 on 35 acres. We have a beautiful home in Pueblo on 9 Royal Troon, very prestigious neighborhood in the upper fives. A spectacular home we're going to be featuring open today from 1 to 2 on 411 Sunbird Cliffs. This home actually, it's over 7,000 square feet. The main level you could easily live on without going downstairs. And then the lower level has another side entry 3-car garage and just amazing views throughout this home. And that is set up where you could it'd be almost like a mom-in-law suite downstairs. Plus there's another level to this home, lots of garage space. And sneak peek coming very soon. I have an adorable ranch. I call it Granny's Adorable Ranch in the low 300s. This thing has really been well maintained. It has new windows, furnace, water heater, gleaming hardwood floors, super cute. And then we also have coming up a spectacular ranch with a 3-car garage down in Fountain in the low 5s. So if you want to find out about all of our current listings or coming soon listings, go to barbhasthebuyers.com or give us a call at 719-301-3900. And one more point, this investor invitational event. If you are an investor and you're looking for homes that you cannot find online that might represent the best buys, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Some of these properties will only be made available by invitation to see, and we'd love to help you help them move on with their life and give you a great property that you could invest in. We have well over 300 properties just on my little login of people that are motivated sellers. So call us 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program. She is your voice. Program airs every Saturday, 11 o'clock, right after Kudlow. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can listen to replays on YouTube and on all of the podcast platforms. That's it for this week. Barb, you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
There you are. Send that one to the Museum of Radio.